In the last episode, I had been in Canada, and in this episode, I returned to St Lucia, take a taxi to Rodney Bay, and then we leave for Martinique.
I never felt tomorrow closing in this fast. Oh, I guess time's in a rush. Leaves are falling down, but at least they grow back, while I'm on a one-way track. Now I know what it means to grow. Now I know the time I've got, it is just enough to get by. Yeah, it is just enough to get by. Sometimes I understand I'm making all the wrong demands in life. It never pays in the end, but still I am here, moving on like before. I'm yearning to reach the shore. Now I know what it means to grow. It is just enough to get by. Oh, now I know what it means to grow. Oh, yeah, now I know the time I've got, it is just enough to get by. Yeah, it is just enough to get by.
Okay, Taylor, while we're waiting in the boat, let's show what this boat's about. It's got pockets here where we put the life jackets. 4 of them. And we have life jackets in there. Right? Nice little storage area here. The anchor. We always keep a dinghy box with all sorts of emergency stuff. And fenders. So Pierre, what's going on with the bucket there?
It's just about full enough that it was pouring into the bill.
So the alarm would have gone off again?
Yeah.
So we have an alarm going off at night with the bilge pump. and you're trying to figure out which bilge pump it is. So tell me the experiment that you did.
Well, we have 4 locations with bilge pumps on this boat. 2 of them are in the center of the hulls, under the floorboard, with 1 electric and 1 manual, as the book requires. And in the engine room, there are 2 electrics, but different systems, different electrical systems, and different alarm systems, and different activity mechanisms. And we had an alarm which we couldn't find the location from several times at night. The alarm would go on, and as soon as the pump had finished its work, the alarm would stop. So it was very difficult to find where it was coming from, and so we went through the 4 locations and found the only place where there was some water was in the engine room on the port engine, port hull. So went in there, played with the pumps, and changed 1 pump, which was faulty in fact, and did a few repairs, but we kept getting water. So I went into the engine room several times trying to find where the water would be coming from. We found a few loose water connections, so we tightened them all up, and it looked good then. There were no leaks. But then we'd still get the alarm once in a while, and there was a bit of water down in front of the engine, which is where it would collide. And there was 1 drain tube there which bugged me, coming in from the hot water tank. And of course it's always a little dry when you see it, there's nothing there. But that was the only place where I could find water that would still come in. So it intrigued me enough to, yesterday I finally decided to remove that pipe and put it in the bucket and just try to gauge overnight how much water would collect in that bucket coming from that drain hose coming from the hot water tank. And lo and behold, at 4 or 5 in the morning, the alarm came on again. And I said, well, this is ridiculous now because I have a bucket, so the water can be coming from there. So, I just went into the engine room now, the night after. You see the status. There is a bit of water up in the front, so I'm assuming that's what started the alarm last night. But also, the big bucket, 2-gallon bucket that I put in, where the hose was coming from the hot water tank, is not full. So that's obviously is exactly where the problem was coming, is the hot water tank, either because it's set too high of a temperature, when it starts to boil, temperature increases in the tank and it just dumps the overflow, or the duct pressure is too high. Any one of these things could generate these type of overflow, which are standard in the industry. You always have an overflow in all the water tanks. It just so happens that in these boats, they just drain it into the bilge. So I'm going to, today, add to our list to buy a small 2-hole fitting, but above the waterline fitting, so that we can redirect that water to go outside, above the waterline, of course, and dump that overpressure from the water tank right outside so that we don't have these issues.
So it's not dumping into the bilge?
Exactly.
All right.
Then we'll have dry bilge, which is a requirement in my book.
And verifying it's fresh water before we throw it out. Let me take a picture of it. There's lots of other water systems in here. That's why it was hard to find. So there's blue and red tubes going everywhere. Blue and red tubes. And to find the bilge pump, we have to somehow get in front of this engine and look down there. Oh yeah, there it is. And you can see how difficult it is to go in and work on that bilge pump. The bilge pump is between the engine, front of the engine, and the bulkhead.
So you have 2 bilge pumps there.
And there's 2 there. I can just see right now. And I can't get in there, I'm just getting the camera in there. All right. So wait a minute. So you cut the table so you could get to the bilge pump there.
Yeah, I cut this piece of wood here, which was there, so that I have wider access to the bottom of the engine. And I'll do the same thing on the starboard side. Remove this big piece of wood there.
And the vents, you cut the straps so that you could get back there to the bilge pump, lying on your stomach.
Well, I didn't cut them. I just removed the pipes so that they can go into the hole and then have an easy access in and out. And easy is relative for a 60-foot.
so hopefully you don't need that wet dry vac anymore.
Always need one in the boat. But luckily, the engine room was all set up so that they had easy access to all sorts of power. You see, I have a 120 plug here, and I have a 220 plug there.
So you've brought it back here.
Well, I use the fender to lift the anchor because it has so much buoyancy with the 2-to-1 purchased, and then I just let it float all the way to the back of the boat, and then I can remove it. And we're free to go with a single anchor now.
Without launching the dinghy.
Yeah.
Good.
Just practicing different techniques.
In case we need them later.
Well, it's always fun to do when the water is warm. Just a good reason to go swim. And then I have the fender holding the anchor up. Because in the water, an anchor doesn't weigh that much.
So that's our Delta that we put out last night.
No, it's a Fortress.
Fortress. The Fortress.
Aluminum Fortress anchor.
That we put out last night in a V.
That's it.
Because they were predicting squalls and high winds.
Yes. That helps prevent the boat from swinging at anchor or sailing at anchor, like some people say. And also prevents the jerking on the lines. So now you have 2 anchors holding the loads when the boat is in the middle.